everybody, Chuck Holler, and it's June 26th, 2013. Well, I normally don't make videos this late because of the lighting, so I hope that it's not too dark, but I did feel compelled to get this out as soon as I could. If it's going to have a name, I'll call it part 2 of the warning I gave last week for the 17th of Tammuz. And that warning was that was the first day of the 3 weeks of woe. I felt that the Lord had led me to Haggai 1:15 that said, in the 4th and 20th day of the 6th month, which was the 17th of Tammuz if you lived in the Chicago area. So that was Monday 11:48 a.m. to Tuesday 11:48 a.m. And I felt something really big was going to happen, and so I've tried to keep my eyes open to see what I could attribute to that. That's without trying to make anything neat. Well, I thought I had missed the mark, to tell you the truth, until today. About the biggest thing I saw yesterday, well, the second biggest thing, I'll tell you what the biggest at the end here, was that there was a vote coming up with the Supreme Court to overturn DAMA. And back in 1996, the Clinton administration ruled that if an individual state ruled that you could have same-sex marriage, the federal government did not recognize that. In other words, you couldn't get your spouse's insurance, Social Security, you would have to pay inheritance taxes, that type of thing. And that was overturned today. Now, yesterday, they needed 2 Supreme Court justices to overturn this. Didn't think they were going to find it, but something big happened. And they found 2 justices. It was a 5-4 vote today. Folks, this is one of the biggest fulfillments of prophecy that we've seen in recent times. I mean, it's right up there with Israel becoming a nation in 48, the 6-Day War in 67. It's big, folks. It's big. And let me just explain to you why I believe it's so big. Jesus, in the Olivet Discourse, Matthew 24, when he was talking about the tribulation period, the end of time, he likened it to 2 other time periods. Now I want to read this in Luke 17, 28 through 29. It says, likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven. Now, if you go back just a couple verses there, in 17:27, it says, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage. I kind of always wondered why they said they were given in marriage when he had just said they married wives. Well, that's in reference to homosexuality. It says they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. So apparently homosexuality was just as big of a problem in the days of Noah as it was in the days of Lot. And the Lord destroyed the society in both instances. Now, we all remember Hezekiah. He was dying. He went to the Lord. He said, Lord, please, I've been a good servant. I've been a good ruler of Egypt. And let me live longer. And I believe he asked for 15 years. I'm not sure if he asked for it or not, but the Lord gave him 15 years. Well, he had a child during that 15 years. His name was Manasseh. And it turned out that Manasseh turned out to not be a righteous ruler. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. Matter of fact, Manasseh killed so many children that the blood ran in the streets of Jerusalem. And what did God do? Well, he didn't destroy Jerusalem. But you know what he did do? He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for homosexual acts. Now, a lot of people want to quote, Leviticus in the Old Testament. It it's a sin for a man to lay with a man, a woman with a woman, and they want to say, well, that's Old Testament, that doesn't apply. Let me give you a New Testament verse. Romans 1:26-27. I want to read it. For this reason, God gave them up to passions of dishonor, for even the females exchanged the natural use for that which is contrary to nature. And likewise also the males, having left the natural use of the female, were inflamed by their lust for one another, males with males, committing what is shameful, and receiving in themselves the recompense which was fitting for that error, for their error. Folks, it's a sad day in America, and I just want you to watch what happens as this thing starts to snowball. One of the things they also overturned was to allow California to start having same-sex, same marriage. And it's just not in the United States of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's in 25 other nations across this planet. This is a worldwide thing. And it was a worldwide thing with Noah. And God will not stand for it. Well, like I said, Manasseh killed babies till the blood flowed, and we killed 55 million of them. But what they did today will bring the wrath of God on this nation and on this planet. So the Lord Jesus warned when you saw this happen, because there was no same-sex marriage when he was walking this earth. They stoned you to death for that. Well, now for those of you who say I'm reaching because of the two Supreme Court judges but let me tell you what did happen on the 17th of Tammuz. President Obama announced yesterday that he was going to make sweeping changes with executive orders for the so-called global warming. Now, anybody who knows what happens when the EPA started confiscating lands and people's farms and 1,000-acre ranches for endangered species because there was some strange caterpillar they hadn't seen in 1,000 years that somebody found on their land. Watch and see what they do with this kind of power. They said they're not only going after coal electrical plants, new and old. They're probably not going to build the pipeline that this country so desperately needed so that we weren't held for hostage by the OPEC, the Arabs anymore, for our oil. And he didn't have to pass a single law. Executive orders, sweeping laws he put into motion yesterday. Folks, it's a terrible time that we live in. I hope that the churches will stand up. I seen someone did a poll in one of the websites that has everybody seeing if your minister this week will preach on this subject. I hope he does, because they're going to have to make a stand. Choose you this day who you serve. And if the church gets complacent with same-sex marriage, and it looks like they're headed down that road, I've already seen certain denominations start hiring gay pastors to conduct the new gay marriages. God have mercy on us.